Some people don't know this, and I forget, but I do a lot of research, and I read into bills, and I read into stuff, and they're trying to ban TikTok and a few other things. And the news is 100% fake. So the stuff you hear on the news isn't real. So when you hear people talking about stuff on the news, you should probably just disregard it. Lawson here. I wanted to make a video. This is kind of off the cuff. I'm just going to kind of talk to you guys for a minute about what I just experienced. I went on to it's a group chat thing. I can't remember the name of the website. I don't keep on top of all the social media sites. It's like Zoom, but you had multiple windows. I don't remember the name of it. I had a meeting with a bunch of different constituents. Most of them were Democrat, and they had a Democrat candidate for governor in the meeting as well. I'm not going to say names. Everything went well. It went well for me because they all fought amongst themselves, but I learned a lot about, some of the liberals. One, they sound crazy, right? But I kind of sat and watched. I didn't say a whole lot. They didn't actually ask me any policy positions. They preached at each other, got into a fight over identities, politics, or positions, or strategies, I guess it would be. And they almost asked me a policy question, but then I think they just assumed my position on it and moved forward. And I can't say they were 100% wrong, but I never clarified or said anything to them about it. But I kind of noticed while they were arguing and talking and all their little talking points and stuff, they have good intent and they want the same thing we do. They're trying to be relevant in a world that doesn't exist. So it's my belief that a lot of the social media algorithms and things like that are manipulated. And I think people do things in order to impress their audience, I guess, if that makes sense. And I'm pretty sure 90% of their audience is bots or being controlled by influencer social media sites. So some people don't know this, and I forget, but I do a lot of research, and I read into bills, and I read into stuff, and they're trying to ban TikTok and a few other things. And the news is 100% fake. So the stuff you hear on the news isn't real. So when you hear people talking about stuff on the news, you should probably just disregard it because it's probably really skewed out of context. Okay, and made to be more extreme. Part of the Smith-Mundt Act was they were allowed to use propaganda in the media for national security, for other things. Not to get too far into the weeds with it. There's arguments to be made on both sides. I will tell you that the U.S. military is very good at appearing weak, because in the art of war it says to appear weak when you're strong. So don't think for a minute that you have idiots in charge. The guys on TV right now putting dresses and stuff on, I'm assuming they drew the short straws, if you know what I'm saying. Not to go too far down that rabbit hole. But I really believe that some of these radical positions are beat into their brain by bots. And what we uncovered in some of the troll farms, that in some of the investigations, is these troll farms can have like 30,000 people hitting, or bots hitting a site or a page, and they leave remarks, right? They have algorithms set up to where, the influencer puts in what he wants. If he wants a bunch of thumbs downs, if he wants a bunch of negative comments, if somebody doesn't do something they like, just like a dog on a leash, These guys push the buttons to correct that influencer's attitude. Okay? I gave people a lot of deference and didn't think that they put that much weight onto what was happening there. But after listening to these guys talk for a minute, I was there to have like a serious policy conversation about maybe some of the new laws that just did and didn't pass. Today we had a bunch of laws pass and a bunch that didn't pass. They actually passed a few good ones. And some bad ones didn't pass. And there was a couple questionable ones. If I was governor right now, I would have some, I need clarification on a couple of them. I would definitely clean up the language. That's me right now. A few of them are okay. It doesn't appear on its surface that they're trying to rob you for too much. It's still not ideal. It would be a lot better if I was in charge, because I would force language on things. Anytime they put anything about climate change or COVID or anything to that nature, it's slush funds. They need the money for other reasons. The politicians that are whose lips are loaded by their donors don't really understand the context of why they're saying this crazy stuff, but they have to say it to get that point across so that the narrative is pushed, so that their donors can basically keep control of whatever legislation they're trying to push now or in the future. It's a pretty complicated game. That's why when I tell you guys that a lot of these other candidates don't know what they're getting into, they literally don't know what they're getting into. They're using the media, the TV, the internet, the YouTube, and all these other places to get their information about politics and policy. That is absolutely crazy, okay? You shouldn't do that. A lot of the people that you think are bad people on TV, and you're seeing them up there, and they're just bad in all rights, just not people that you think are good people. You can't make that decision that way. You have to watch the hearings and listen to the filth and the dumb things that come out of their mouth. Once you see someone up there clearly puppeting for points that make no sense, and the question that you want to keep asking them is, well, why? What are you hiding? Why are you going through all this to hang on to something that's not even represented by a good part of the population or any constituents? Nobody cares about this, basically. So why do you have to waste so much money to fight us on it? It's like, just because we want to do it, you want to fight to the bloody end, and it doesn't even make sense. Well, it does make sense, and it's because there's something in there that their donors have told them specifically, you need to fight this. And there's deep reasons why, and it's like a big political chess game on every level. What you see on the surface is 1%. That's why you need to elect me, someone that's going to come in there and literally fight behind the scenes, get on the microphone and the camera, and break it down to you in more of a real world style situation. I'm not going to give you all the hoopla. I'm not going to tell you they're all bad, rotten people unless I have specific events, the elements of what they did, and can explain to you exactly what that person did, the elements, and have documentation, proof, real world life experience to show you that person truly is a swamp rat, okay? And I'm a swamp rat hunter. Don't make no mistake. My main prey, swamp rat. And I know who they are, and I see them, and it's the words. You do not judge them by what you see on the media. You judge them by what comes out of their stupid mouths, right? When their policy positions are just so outrageous, like, you don't need ID to vote. Like, that's racist, and it's suppressing people's ability to vote. No. There's homeless people all over Las Vegas that can't get help because they can't get an ID, right? They can't get an ID. They don't care. The state makes it as hard as possible for them to get an ID, but they can vote? Huh. That's interesting, right? Why? You guys know 100 situations where you need ID and it's simply annoying and feels like an invasion of privacy that you even need it. When you go into the casino, you need to bust your ID out and show the door guy. Why? You're of age. You're not doing anything wrong. Why do they need to see your ID? That's annoying, right? But they need to see it. So why can't the people ask for that same courtesy when it comes to things like, voting or knowing who's on the ballot, that kind of thing? Then they say it's convenience and you guys are stopping people who can't get to the ballots to get there. Okay. Well, that's fine. But half the company is divided. At some point, as a politician who's elected by the people, you have to do damage control. And you have to understand that a lot of people aren't feeling that, A, they're being represented by the process, and that the other side is claiming something that if you decide you just want to get off your high horse for a minute, you can prove it. Okay? All they have to do is say, you know what, I'm tired of it. We're going to do mail-in vote, or we're not going to do mail-in voting. We're going to do same-day voting. We're going to have everybody come in and cast their ballots, and we're going to have everybody come in and just do in-person voting. We're going to have it done in one day. We're going to count up all the votes, and then we're going to see what the totals are. They're deathly afraid of that. Why? Because all their voters mail it in? No, that's not why. Okay? If everybody knew that they had to go and vote on one day, and everybody knew it wasn't going to be altered and that they were going to get the results that same day, yes, your outcome would be different. Which makes my point. That's the way we're supposed to be doing it. That's like if the Constitution said you're supposed to play baseball this way. Someone comes in and says, we're not going to have a batter and a pitcher anymore. We're going to put a tee up, and we're going to take away the outfielders, and we're going to bring the fence into 200 feet. No, that's not the same thing. You're changing things. All right? Is the Constitution absolute? Well, that depends on who you ask. If you ask Americans, it is. If you ask foreigners, it is not, because they are not represented by it. So be careful who you're dealing with, right? Okay, now back to who you're dealing with, the fake news and the people influencing it. These people that I was in the debate with, and I honestly think all of them will vote for me if they can get past their glitches. And if they're watching this right now, I'm not picking on you guys, and I'd love you guys to come back and have me on for another discussion specifically about what I'm about to say. But from the outside looking in, listening to you guys argue, you guys were arguing about certain genders' representations in certain neighborhoods. And one of you rightfully, in my opinion, pointed out that that entire argument is a slide that is actually doing damage to your party. I agree on that to an extent. I agree on that a lot. But I think the way it's being implanted and the way that it's being slid into their mind states is so nefarious that they're too trusting and good of people to actually see it and recognize it. And it's so evil to them that I don't think their minds can truly process it, which when they try to comprehend the elements of this, it drives them to be forced to make conclusions that either they're on the wrong side and promoting something for a master that's truly that evil, or they're getting frustrated because they're not able to properly recreate the message the way they received it. So the person that they're trying to deliver the message to is not receiving it in the impactful way that they had received it from the source that they had received it from. And a lot of that comes from something called planting seeds. The media does this. The conservatives are just as guilty. I don't know how many times I've gone to a conservative convention and talked to the MAGA supporters to where I've questioned myself in the back of my head, is this person here to make us look like this? Because they're out of control a little bit, right? I believe in Q, right? In fact, I know a lot about that. I'll tell you guys all about it. It's the Q group. It's an essay. I'll tell you about that if you want. And I can take you to the point to where it's not the media freaking out. And there's a reason the media doesn't talk about that stuff. And it comes down to law enforcement things and just talking about open investigations. And, the anonymous researchers are really anonymous researchers. They're investigators, prosecutors, people that hold these real world authorities. They're just kind of scared for their lives, especially when you're infiltrated by foreign agents, KGB spies, just whatever. It's military operations. There's real threats. People are under the real threat of kill. The espionage stuff, right? So, they all want the same thing. They all want the Federal Reserve to go away, which we all want that, right? Nobody says it, but that's the real problem here, is we need to get back control of our money. And there's people that are putting humans, life, all sorts of things in front of, or they're putting money in front of human life. And they're allowing suffering to be caused, a lot of things, so that their perceived value of their fake money can go up. Meanwhile, there's people whose kids are starving, dogs are starving, they're losing their homes, all over this fake money game that these guys are playing. They're selling us out for just a little bit of money because they're all really dumb and don't understand what they're doing. I wish there was a way I could explain that better, but there's really not. And those people that think that way are actually placed in those positions because they will and can see things in that way and actually sell that crap to you guys. there's a reason that all of them, except for me, sound very unnatural and very kind of like careful, cautious how they step. It's because they may have to double back on those positions. At some time, they may need to present a different position, like an actor in a play. The problem is this game's for keeps. So once they say one position and sell you on it, when they go back later and have to double back down on it or something like that, it is just well known in the politics world, not me or any of the other outsiders, but the insiders. It's just well known that, oh, they were just saying that to prove a position, to lie to you, to pass a point, to get what they want. In their minds, it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission for what they're going to do. So, 45 minutes of well thought out planning interview, invited the guests, got all the people on there so that we could all come together and have a serious conversation about real issues that we could address. I had an opportunity to maybe learn something from them if they wanted to present it. I'm more than happy to hear about the views from the liberals and what they think, because so often both sides only see the radical versions. So all you see on the liberal news is, screw Trump, MAGA bad, MAGA bad, MAGA bad, to where people that lean to the right can't hardly stomach watching it. And they do the same thing on the other side, to where they start talking about, how radical and out of control Joe Biden is, falling down all over the place. Joe Biden's not in control. We all know that. All right, it's clearly somebody else. Is everything Joe Biden doing bad? I don't know, because it's a geopolitical chess game out there. The news and everyone wants to attack him and make him look pretty bad. So that could go either way. But who is bad are the people running our state. This isn't contested. They've done bad things directly to me. They've done bad things to the state. They have sold you guys out for the interest of foreigners. And I'll break it all down. I can show you. I have the documentation. I can call them out by name. They know this. So my grievances are 100% real. The laws they passed, the money they steal, all that stuff is real. The fact that they break federal law and charge citizens for blanket security from federal law being enforced upon them, or better yet, to buy off the state Gestapo from coming in and arresting them. That's where we're at. And then Roe versus Wade, that's clearly just whenever you hear something on the news being really pushed and trying to cause division, you really need to go into you need to look into the scholars' works. Go into try to figure out what they're doing with it. Why is it being pushed? What is their motive? We know that school shootings have been staged in the past. There's a lot of the school shootings that weren't real. They were done for media hype because now, I don't know if you guys know this. There's a lot of normies out there that might think all these school shootings are real, but they weren't. They were set up. They were, I guess the term they use to cause division would be false flag, but they're not set up that way. They're set up as, a lot of times there'll be drills that people engage in, so there'll be drills. Now, the media is allowed to portray those as real and have propaganda. And they can say kids got shot up. They can say that there was an attack on the school. They used to hype it up a lot more, but people are wise to them now, so they don't highlight them as much anymore. You might just hear about a shooting or a suspect or something weird. They used to use those drills to use it for a few days media coverage, and then they would go ahead and attempt to pass legislation that would loop in the rules or something based on the narrative of that situation. That was all pre-staged. Okay? Now, the information getting to you about it being pre-staged, that's buried pretty deep. And actually, you have to find it when it comes down to people that find out and know what's going on, challenging them. And then in the courts, they'll say, well, no, this is a drill. And, the American public was watching entertainment, and, the news is allowed to protect national security. They use a lot of rotten loopholes, and it's way too deep to go into. But you guys have to understand that the news is fake. There's a reason Donald Trump calls it fake news. And he has taken a lot of slings and arrows because the people that watch Donald Trump and pay attention see how they flip everything around. And now it's to the point it's ridiculous. And I'm like, now I think the news and everyone is kind of doing it on purpose. Like everything's being accelerated a little bit. Everything's a little more extreme than normal. I think they're trying to wake people up to it. It's like waking you up, slapping you around a little bit. And then once people realize that everything they thought they knew based on information that they were receiving from CNN and MSNBC is all false, they get a little upset. And it's hard. And it's a cognitive dissonance, I guess. And their brain can't handle the fact that they've been manipulated and lied to that extreme. It can be said the same way for the MAGA or the Trump side too. It literally can. And I see their side on that. The problem that the argument fails, especially with me, is I've been fighting with the people in the state. Trump and his snake song is the perfect example, because Jay Inslee's a snake, all right? And so is Bob Ferguson. And so are the guys that basically take money to either lose or prop themselves up in a position that allow attorneys or outside forces to come in and manipulate their position on the behalf of other people, whether it be corporation or foreign countries or whatever, while they are self-enriched. And that's when Trump said, oh, I'm going to audit all the politicians. He did. And that's why they're so mad. And that's what literally caused this coup that you're seeing right now. The coup is, military-industrial complex, the censorship complex, all those things. Whether it happened behind the scenes when Trump was president, and they're just kind of showing everybody now on the news, because these operations truly are years ahead. You really get your news like a few years late on any kind of semblance of real news. There are some citizen journalists out there doing the right thing, but a lot of times they're so focused on the outrage of the fake media not reporting it that the message is lost. So the one thing citizen journalists need to do is quit giving the main news stations deference, all right? Everybody wants to watch the Fox News and the CNN and all that all the time and wait for the big breaking headlines, and they all say the same thing. I watch it to see what they're telling all the other people. Okay, if you can stay on track and keep your scope on that, that's great, and that's a good way to be, especially for politics, because it gives you an idea what kind of crazy talking points they're going to come at you with. They started talking to me. They started talking to themselves, actually, about trans rights and all these other things, and they asked me something about some sex and stuff like that, and I was like, look, man, I'm the governor of the state. I'm not running for Senate this time, so none of these laws are going to really affect me, what I think about any of that. I think that people are Washingtonians, and I'm going to look out for them. I really don't consider anything past that. I really don't. I mean, I swear to God, I don't. I have friends of every color and ethnic race, and I can't even pay attention to what they really are. I have friends that I don't even know if they're white or black. I mean, that might sound stupid, but I don't. Like, I think one parent might have been black or half black or white. I have, like, a bunch that way. I really don't know if they're white or black. I've known them, some of them 15, 20 years. I have no clue, and I don't care, and it's never affected anything. And we call each other racial names, too, and slurs. I call a lot of my white friend racial names and slurs, and my black friends racial names and slurs. And I think my black friends like me more because I do that, and they do it to me, and I don't know. I guess. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if my black friends are black, but they look black and kind of act like black people. They live in neighborhoods that are actually almost... I have a lot of black friends that are super rich, but they used to not be. They were super poor. Like, probably the poorest of the poor. I worked on South Tacoma Way at CarPros, and I was a salesman there for a long time, and I got to know a lot of people on South Tacoma Way. And I had black friends before that too, from Lacey and Olympia and stuff like that. Back in the day, marijuana was really illegal, and it was really hard to get, so you had to make underground connections all over the place if you smoked it. And my dad did, and he needed it it was the best thing for him. The drugs they were giving him were real bad. So I started going around and trying to find him stuff that was good, but he also had bad lungs. So I had to make sure that he got stuff that was really decent. That's why I get so mad when they start talking about, oh, we got to make sure we know who's growing it so it can be regulated, and we're going to do all these things for you guys in these weed stores. They don't do any of that, right? Well, my dad passed away now, so I don't have to look out for him to make sure that he's getting something that doesn't have some kind of bug spray on it that kills him. He died from other issues. Big Pharma, we'll get into that maybe at another time. I don't want to right now. But the point of the story is that they would basically, you'd have to make connections all over the place. So with that, I did make connections all over the place. So I had people in every state and city in the whole state. And I know a lot of people still. And I know probably most of the underground workings as well as law enforcement workings and every other kind of working in the state. So that's why these guys aren't going to be able to beat me. There's literally nothing they can do to stop me. They have no tools in their toolbox to stop me, because the people know what I'm saying is true, And if you're in any of these towns, anywhere, you're going to run into someone that knows me, and they're going to tell you exactly what I just told you. 100% truth, and they're going to be like, we need to vote for him because he's going to fix it. Everyone that knows me personally knows I'm the one capable to do it, and that it is going to get done. All right? A lot of you are watching right now, and you guys are all saying the same thing. He's right. He's going to get it done. He can do it. He can do it. They used to say, a lot of my old bosses said I was the greatest salesman ever. Like, I was the greatest salesman ever, period. They would say that kind of crap to me. Not one, but a bunch. Like I said, I work for Car Pros. Maybe you can ask Ken about me. I'm sure he remembers. How you doing, Ken? If you're watching. But there's a lot. I've worked all over the place, and I know a lot of people. Okay? So, calling me a racist absolutely will not work. And I have friends all over, and I don't even know if they're black or white, or how they identify, if they identify as black. And that's the other thing, too. Is my friend Asian? Is he black? Is he Mexican? I don't know. I don't know. What do I say, right? I'm not in tuned enough to be able to tell, especially if we're not like at his house. If we're at his house and he's got Spanish flags all over the place and stuff like that, then I'd know something, right? And I do understand a lot of different cultures. But to be honest with you, a lot of my friends grew up just like me. If I go to their house, they're going to have the same crap I got. So how am I supposed to know? Right. But I'm not racist. So that won't work. And I know it's one of your guys' favorite. And I'm not sexist either. And I know lots of lesbians and all that other crap too. I got lots of gay friends, all that shit. I don't have gay friends because I'm gay. But I have gay friends. I know them. I know a lot of them. I've just been around, I'm telling you, man. So, that being said, that will also fail. But my eyes were open watching this screen, because these are all people that I can relate to. I mean, I know them on the streets. They got blue hair and they're crazy and they're tattooed, and some of them. And the other candidate that was there, that's running, like I said, I'm not going to go into names. You know, everyone running typically has good intention, unless they're a swamp rat that's in there right now actively stealing money that I have a bunch of dirt on. My hardest opponents will be the other grassroots people that have good intention, that are really trying to run to make a change. The only thing I have to convince them is they may not have the guns to do it. It's hard. It takes a special kind of person and a special kind of skill to be able to rein in all these politicians. And, you know, you get big guys my size in suits, and they start coming at you and acting like they got all this authority, and they want to tell you how the cow's going to eat the cabbage and stuff. It takes a special kind of person to say, no, I'm the governor, I have the authority, I'm going to write an executive order to shut you down. You don't like it, you can go to jail. A lot of people don't want to do that. They can't do it. And if they have big donors or any kind of leverage over them like that, or give those people even a little bit of deference to think those people are semi-good people inside, they lose, and the people lose. And I'm fighting for you, the people. So when I go in there and I'm mean to all these people and I start dropping the hammer, I'm doing it for the American people. The people of Washington specifically, because I'm tired of their crap, and I'm going to fix it. Because when I'm in there, I'm thinking about all my friends on all these streets that I knew for all these years, and all the businesses they've started and all the work we've put in to make our society run. Okay? And when I'm in here and I'm looking at these rats that are taking all the money and causing death and destruction on all these streets, all the bad crap I've had to deal with my whole life, here they are right in front of me trying to tell me, after you guys got me elected, heads are coming off. Pretty simple. See, this is causing a lot of fear and panic. It's also going to cause them to not want to put me on the news anywhere. They will call my positions radical. They'll say that I'm a dictator and that I'm crazy. And they're right, probably, in some situations. But guess what? I'm going to be that person for you, the people of Washington, and I'm going to fight for you, which is what the governor's supposed to do. I'm very open-minded. You guys can always talk to me. You guys can tell me if you think my positions are wrong and why. And if it has merit, I will be more than happy to entertain it, and you might even change my mind, because I'm not always right. Sometimes I think I know something, and I'm looking at angles, and I think I know something, and then boom, the lawyer on the other side will drop an angle I didn't see, and I'll be like, dang, and it'll like blow my whole world up, and I'll be like, that changes like the entire argument, right? I'm open for that. I like that stuff. I love when people teach me things. The best thing I can hope to do is get on the stage with these other people in a nice debate and have them bring up something that I don't know about, so that I can say, I really don't know, but it interests me. Can you please tell me more about it while the people are listening? Thank you for that. And that would be something those candidates are bringing to the table, if they have that. And I want them to bring it to the table, because I want all these arguments out there. because the people need to know what's really going on, not what's on the TV. That's all fake. You guys really think that women don't know what a woman is? I mean, I've watched a lot of the conservative stuff, so I'm watching all the MAGA stuff. I'm a Trump Republican. I love Trump, right? So I see them, and I see what they're doing. And I don't agree with men and women's sports, and I'm pretty sure 99.9% of people agree with that, except for the weirdos that want to go into the girls' bathrooms and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, I think it's pretty safe to say, if you're transgender and you were born a man, but now you identify as a woman and you want to live your life as a woman, that's fine. But it's got to be kind of the same rules as the repossession guy when he comes to repo your car. You can't disturb society with that, all right? So you can do it. You can roll around. You can be whoever you want to, as long as you don't disturb society. You're not going to be able to go into the women's bathrooms and stuff. You know, I mean, you're the one pushing it past the line at that point, and we're going to have to call you out on what it is at a certain extent. We're not going to let you do that, you know. You can fight me on it if you want, but there's not enough of you to do it. It's a ridiculous argument. Otherwise, we'll let you guys do whatever you want, really. You're more than welcome to dress how you want and identify how you want. There's no problems there. But, yeah, men and women's sports, no, I'm going to look at that as assault in some situations. It's dangerous. There might be some human rights elements involved in it. It could do permanent damage later, so there could be some tort issues. I definitely can't have the state liable for that kind of thing, so it's going to have to be addressed. Some people want to buy a house with small ceilings, but they were born tall like me, so the world's just not going to, you know, you can buy a bigger house and you can move into it. Some guys want to drive little cars, but they're too big. You were just born a little too big for that car, so it's going to be hard, right? Even though you want that car really bad, you can probably get some modifications done to where you fit into the car and stuff like that, but it's a one-off kind of thing. So we'll make arrangements for you. We'll do it to an extent, but once it starts pushing onto other people's rights, I can't have one female feel uncomfortable about having a biological male in a bathroom, and that's my opinion. Like I said, if you guys have arguments with merit, I'm glad to listen to them, but you're going to have a hard time convincing me that fully grown, fully intact males can go into women's bathrooms. Alright? And that's where I think the fake news is like really kind of done some crazy stuff to some people. Because that's an argument that I shouldn't have. And if I get pushback on it, you have to ask yourself, well, who's pushing back? And what's their motive? Why does this guy or whoever, or why does this girl, even lady, want men in the women's bathrooms? It's the same argument as the voter fraud. Always ask yourself why. Like, why? Why? Why are we arguing about this? That's the first thing we should all ask ourselves. Why are we arguing about this? You give me the merit of the argument. And don't say it's oppression or people are rights and all this. We're all getting our rights stripped. And it's by the Federal Reserve and these Washington fake laws and this Constitution in this state that's violating the Emoluments Clause on all these levels. We're choosing to play the game. We just have to quit playing the game. We shouldn't be arguing over stuff, though. Trust me, we should not be arguing over stuff. So you have to think that there's people on the MAGA side that are trying to start fights, and there's people on the conservative sides that are trying to start fights. So they send these radical people in there to try and cause all this division, and you get these hardliners to the right telling you that Joe Biden's going to destroy America, which is true with a lot of the decisions he's making. We can't continue on like this. He's failing us bad. Donald Trump is MAGA, make America great again. You can't argue with that position. Donald Trump is very intelligent, very smart, high IQ, very well planner. He's a well planner. He plans things very well. He can speak for a long time. He's a very good representative to the people. He's articulate. Everything he does is well thought out. I know that a lot of people think that he says dumb stuff off the cuff. You guys think he eats McDonald's and all this other crap, but he really don't. You can't. He doesn't. A lot of it's a show. He puts on a lot of it. He's an entertainer. He has been on TV for a long time. He's an entertainer. Okay, that's part of the job. You have to have a personality to be able to entertain. His job's hard. He's leading us back through this psychoticness. That's hard. His family's been getting nailed left and right. His family, I'm pretty sure his family knows him, so they know he's smart, he's got it under control, but they have to be shaking their heads sometimes like, dude, what is going on? Why is he allowing this to happen? Well, he's allowed it to happen because he's trying to wake you guys up to what was going on for so long before. In 2014 and 15, it was crazy. They had state agents running nuts. The APA was out of control. They were making regulations on the regulations for the regulation. The regulation needed a regulation, if you know what I mean. So nobody was able to operate. You had back then crime going crazy. We had people robbing. The crime was worse back then. I know the news is telling you guys all now the crime's worse now and stuff, and in some areas it is, and in some cases it is. But as far as like overall lawlessness and people like breaking into our stores and stealing stuff when we weren't there, and like maybe getting robbed on the street or whatever, there was a lot more shady characters back then. I'll straight up tell you that in 2015 and 16, there was way more Serenos and way more Mexican gangsters on the streets. There was. And you can ask anyone on the streets. You go out there, grab anyone you know that's on the streets, running around doing stuff they do on the streets, and say, hey, were there a lot more Mexicans or Mexican gangs in 2015 and 16 there are now? And 9 out of 10 of them are going to say, yeah, he's right. He's right. No, it's not even the same as it was back then. And the game has changed for all of them now because they got this fentanyl that'll kill you. And most of the people that were like selling weed, or even the guys that were selling cocaine and doing all that stuff, most of them have probably come to either they're dead now or they've come to their common sense and gotten out of it. Right? Because now it's like you need a test to even do the shit, you're going to die. I never did it. I was one of the guys who just never did any of the drugs, anything. I would smoke weed, but that's it. I don't even drink, right? I'm really about being focused and staying on top of stuff. I don't tell a lot of people this, but I don't eat meat. I quit eating meat in 2017. I don't think you should quit eating meat. I think you guys should eat all the meat you want. For me, it helped me because sometimes I would get angry or upset, and I would notice that sometimes I would act before I could like think about what I wanted to do. Once I stopped eating meat, that went away for me. And before I would see a little bit of red, and I would maybe act before I could fully gain my thoughts on what I wanted to do. Once I stopped eating the meat, though, I found it was much clearer for me to think, articulate what I wanted to do to myself before the emotions and things like that would come over me and get me to react or regret whatever I might do. It was in little things too, like I might say something that was factually incorrect just because I wasn't thinking quick enough or I had something else going on, and then I would be upset that I did that, and I would actively try to cover the fact that I did it instead of recognizing my error and moving forward. These are little things I noticed just on me, and that's not the same with everyone. I know lots of people that eat the shit out of me and eat a lot of bad food too, and they're very smart, and I wouldn't want to screw with them toe to toe. So it's just me. Okay, I'm still big and everything. I'm 6'4". I'm good sized. I'm not skinny and stuff. And it's not for me. But that's something. I tried to keep my body really clean. I quit eating sugar and all these other things, mostly because I wanted to make sure I could be the best I could be to fight for you in the state, because it takes someone that's on top of their game. And then it ended up not. They're all really dumb, and I could have kicked their butt fat and out of shape and on cheeseburgers, but now they're really done because I see them very clearly. I know they don't know what they're doing. They're a bunch of hacks. That makes it very hard on them to face me because they're going to try and hold some kind of authority or deference like they actually do know what they're doing when they don't. They might sound good. They might even be able to try to fake it till they make it, but I'm going to call them out because I know where the bodies are buried as far as what they're lying about and the positions that they cover. All right. So they're simply put there to do whatever the corporations need them to do. Okay? And they're on call. And I know that sounds harsh, but it's true. And they get there by weird ways. First thing they do is they take PAC money or donor money or book deals. If you got a politician that has a book deal, red flag. Just, you probably shouldn't vote for that person if they have a book deal. I know Donald Trump has book deals, but he wrote books long before he was a politician, and his books I actually did read. The Art of the Deal was one of the first books I read, and it was back when I was learning about sales and stuff. It wasn't one of the first books I read. What am I saying? It wasn't one of the first books I read. It was the first Donald Trump book I read, and it was one of the first books I read that helped me to understand how to sell and the dynamics behind selling, which I later became a car dealer and owned a car dealership, and I still will again. I will reopen my car dealership once the state's under control, but I had to shut my store mostly for damage control. The state has bad people in their bureaucracy, and they attack me, and they will hurt my customers, and they'll block titles, and they'll do direct damage to customers to get back at me, to paint me in a false light around election time, so that they can limit my ability to deal with them because I'm dealing with the heat of the customers, and then I have to sue them to get anything done, which takes time. That paints me in a false light. The customers think I'm the shady car dealer when really I'm the one fighting the state. So they've went after those customers to do direct damage to me. This is fact. They know it's fact. I have over 200 examples of Washington state citizens that the state chose to deprive and hurt for no other reason but to do damage to me. The director of the Department of Licensing admitted this in a hearing and said the only threat that I have to the public is the fact that the department will go after the people's property in order to punish me. Out of his own mouth, he said it. And I just went, whoa, buddy, fair enough. And I just was quiet because these people are psycho. All right? Psycho. That's a psycho. And that's your head of your Department of Licensing. That's a psycho. You can't do business with someone like that. You can't reason with someone like that. They are a yes man that is just trying to keep their $35 an hour job. They'll do whatever they are told, thinking that they might get a promotion somewhere else or whatever. That's an administrator, head person, brought him in as a professional witness. Oh, he didn't even know about VIN numbers and stuff. He was a complete hack, for one. And then he said, the damage. Listen again. I'm going to tell you again. I am a threat to the public because the department might go after my customers. So I'm a threat to my customers because the customers might get retaliated on by the department. Do you guys understand that? That's Washington State right now, today. 2024, Washington State. Today, still, that guy's still working there. So are the people that told the cops that we were cooking meth in the dealership. They still work for the state of Washington. How can you not be outraged by that? I don't care if you're liberal. I don't care if you're a flamin'. Don't care what you are. They did that to me. I've got the dirt on them. I can look them in the face and tell them they did it. This is our chance to put one of us in there and knock them off of the pedestal. I have all of this, and I will present it to them to their face. This is our election. MAGA's going to win. MAGA's going to win because of what it means. It means make America great again. And you can trust me. I'm your candidate that's going to take you there, and I'll take you a lot farther. Once you guys get behind me and we unite, oh yeah, we're going to knock them out. We're going to have people wanting to move to Washington left and right. Red state, blue state, we won't even know. We'll be the state. We'll call it the Evergreen State. I hope you guys are listening to what I'm saying. Liberals, crazy ladies out there that don't like Trump and don't like me just because. You don't like white guys, don't care. Listen to what I'm saying about the state. Listen to what I'm saying to you. They can do it to you. I have a lot of pull. I can go in there and sue them back. I can get these hearings done. I can do things. You can't. How many of you citizens out there have been screwed over by the state, hoping somebody would step in and do the right thing, and that day never comes? Well, that day will never come until you guys vote me in, and then that day is going to come fast and swift. That's what we're doing here. Political movement. So, LeonLawson.com, that would be my website. You can go there. If you guys want to donate, you can. Like I said, I had to shut my business because they were going to keep attacking. And I'm like, I'm not going to have the people put up with this again. They've done it through the last 2 elections. I still managed to beat them. Then they went ahead and just used their ballot harvesting to cheat. Why? Because they feel morally okay doing that. They feel morally okay having an ambiguous election so much that they're going to keep fighting to keep it ambiguous. So the next time the same exact thing can happen. Because it's endless. It's endless. Because they want to keep the corporations protected. Endless. Big tech, the banks, big pharma, all their guys. We can beat them. But you guys have to understand, you have to unite. We need Republicans and Democrats. We can't have the uniparty running both sides anymore, okay? I hope I'm reaching some of you. Well, I'll be back with another episode of On the Issues tomorrow. I was going to do one tonight, but after that, I just was like, man, I didn't even get a chance to argue any positions because we all have the same positions, but they don't want to talk about that. They want to talk about gender. They want to talk about gender. Okay, well, this is a college. I'm just going to tell you guys. It was a college. It was an interview for a college. There was another governor candidate in the group meeting. That person screwed up and tried to engage in it. I just told them I'm here to represent all the people. And whatever issues you guys have as your governor, a public servant, I'm here to help you address them. I'm here to appoint people for each of these agencies so that you guys can have mechanisms that work for you. I'm going to be very diligent in rebuilding those agencies. I'm going to gut them and rebuild them. I'm going to work on the finances for this state. I'm going to work on trying to get back to constitutional currency. I'm going to make sure we never have a central bank digital currency in our state. I'm going to work on blocking that, protecting you guys. I'm going to work on an Internet Bill of Rights. I'm going to work on making sure that the House and the Senate draw up proper legislation that benefits the American people. And I'm going to veto anything that doesn't. I'm going to be very transparent. You're going to have Governor Leon's whiteboard right here while I go over all of it. And I'm going to tell you guys why I don't like it, why I do like it, what I think it's going to do to the people, how it's going to hurt the people. And then I'm going to invite whoever my critic on the other side of that argument is to do a video with me, or do it however, and present it to the people too. And I think with the right platforms, we'll have the entire state as an audience. We won't need the fake news. We won't need any other orators telling you guys anything. You'll get it live and direct. You can interact if you like. You can write us letters. We can do digital voting right here. We can have the people weigh in on the issues that they think are actually pressing. Everything, even from contracting certain contractors to do certain jobs. I think that people should discuss it because there's too much quid pro quo and waste, okay? Every time they do a contract and just give it to somebody and waste 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 grand, that's another mother living in a car whose family is now destroyed because they didn't pay attention to the bottom line. And then they come back and say, oh, we don't have the money. They don't have the money because they're not paying attention. They're mismanaging it. This has to stop. It's madness. It's madness on every level. There's old people that can't afford food right now, but they're wasting $100,000 to drive Jay Inslee to work. It needs to stop. And until someone calls them out on it, it never will. So, let's stop it. We're going to rip the Deed of Trust apart. Deed of Trust Act apart. You guys are never going to have to worry about any of the crap that you're worried about now. You're going to be worried about how to invest all your money, how to make sure your kids are raised properly the way that you feel they should be raised. And then you guys are going to worry about what every great society worries about, making sure that we don't fall back into the evil grips of the communist dictators that currently run our country. So, God bless you all. God bless Donald Trump for doing this for us and getting the door kicked in. Because if it weren't for him getting attacked by all these people, I would have never stood up and ran, right? And now that they've been attacking me, I realize that I'm a Jedi Knight of politics. And I'm just going to take them out. They can't do anything to me. I'm a juggernaut. It might as well be the Matrix. If they try it, they will be destroyed. I live and breathe this all day, every day. My hobbies are this. My passions, this. Do I do other stuff? I did. It's all on hold right now until I fix this. I got sports cars. I got all that cool stuff, all dust covered right now because we got a state to save, and that's what I'm doing. So, again, LeonLawson.com. Hopefully you guys didn't tune out a long time ago. I hope my message is being delivered properly and in the context that I'm hoping it reaches you in. I have a lot of respect for a lot of the liberals that we as MAGA people might consider crazy, or you might hear people talking badly or poorly about on our side. I think that we should give them a little more deference and maybe just hang the olive branch out just a little bit further. I think a lot of them are starting to come to grips with the fact that we're all fighting the same war, and they're just dividing us with the news. I know that's old news to a lot of you, and I know a lot of you have given up on talking to the other side at all because it's just so tiring and tiresome and aggravating. But let's not give up on them. Maybe, just maybe, I'm the candidate that can bring us all back together, huh? Let's bring it all back together. Evergreen State, Republican, Democrat, Independent, don't care. It should absolutely be a landslide because you guys should be looking at intent and the person that wants to work for you and the person that wants to fix our state. Okay? The rest, BS. The problems will come as they come. We can't future predict the problems. I can't tell you right now what's going to be the most pressing issue on January 20th or even January 1st of 2025. Once we get there, we'll see how much damage has been done, and we'll see what we need to do with common sense to correct it. I'm going to need both sides. I'm going to need the liberals and the Republicans to come together. I'm going to need you flaming crazy liberals, as we call you, which you probably call us radical Nazis or whatever. I'm going to need both the flaming liberals and the radical Nazis to come together to help me correct this issue. And I can do it with all of your help. And we'll do it together. And I can promise you, liberals, that you will not find one position of mine that isn't better for you than where you're at right now. Not one. You will not find one position on anything that what I do will not benefit you 100% more than you're being benefited right now. I don't care where you're at or who you are, because once I squeeze this system out, which no one's ever done, once I squeeze this system out, you're going to see what's really going on, and you're going to be like, "Whoa! I'm so glad he won." And history will look kindly on me. That's the idea anyway. Thanks, guys. I'm going to cut it loose. 52 minutes. I didn't mean to go on rant that long. It just affected me. I wanted to engage with them, but the door for serious thought wasn't open, and I think they all felt that too. I think they felt that I was too serious of a person to have in their little kid conversation, and that's kind of how I treated it, because at the end of the day, there's no merit in arguing about any of it, right? And if I don't like baseball, but you like baseball, who cares? We can still get along, right? I don't care. I don't care if you're a baseball player. I hate baseball. You're a baseball player? We can be friends. Who cares, right? It's crazy. They've got some mental illness going on. MK Ultra. It's coming through your screen. They're hypnotizing you guys with crazy Fox News breaking alerts and with MSNBC things. You guys have a good night. It's Saturday right now. It's March 9th. We will be voting on Monday. Now, we still have this mail-in vote crap going on. This is for the presidential election. It's the 12th, so Tuesday. So, I think you just get drop boxes. I don't even think you can go in and vote in person. It's messed up. And then on your ballot, they actually ask you Republican or Democrat right on the outside of the ballot. so they can just torch all the Republican ballots. They just have a bonfire like, oh, the Republican ballots go over to that pile. It's just dumb. The whole thing's dumb. It's like, that's the first thing you think of when you see Republican and Democrat on the ballot. You have to choose. You're like, dude, they could totally just flame up the ones they don't like. I was like, maybe if I just check Democrat, then it says in there, it says if you check the Democrat on the envelope, you have to vote for a Democrat, because they knew we'd be onto them. So if they know we're going to be onto them and we're going to think like that, why do they do it? That's the part that should make you want to choke them out. They do it so that you have to question it. They want you to question it. That has to drive you crazy right there. They want you to question it, and they got us all fighting each other. Half the people say, I trust these jack-offs, and the other half are like, how can you trust these jack-offs? Both sides are commendable, but we're not going to trust these jack-offs. So the ones out there that want to trust them after they're fighting so hard for no reason to keep it ambiguous, what are you doing? Stop supporting these crazy people. We can fix it. Quit arguing about it. We'll have our elections one day. How's that? One day. Let's mail our ballots to a Republican state. Any state. I don't care. Let's count them ourselves. I don't care, right? Let's have in-person voting one day, one time. Let's look at the results. If it's 88% Republican and no Democrats, there might have been something fishy going on before. I don't know. Maybe all the Democrats are just too lazy to not mail their vote. They're just like, oh, I can't get down there and vote. Oh my Lord. Yeah, they can. They have to get up and go to places. They have to go to the bank. They have to go to all sorts of places. There's going to be ways, especially if we do the in-person voting same day, once I'm elected, to where I'm going to have not ballot harvesting, but I'm going to have like mobile voting areas. I'm thinking about it. None of it's in stone yet, and all of it's going to have problems, so I don't want to get too far ahead, but I'm thinking that like there's certain people that might be like bedridden, not really capable to be able to go, that mail-in voting does benefit, because I've thought of every reason why these guys do this, and this is the only good reason I can find. So say you're really old, you can't really get down there to vote, big pain in the butt. Well, if that's the case, you just call the Secretary of State ahead of time, and you can say, hey, I'm disabled, I can't get there. So what they would do is they'd send that person a ballot, or better yet, you would have a team on election day that would drive the ballots out to the people, and they'd have a sworn officer with them. The officer would look at the person's ID, verify it's them, and then collect the ballot. There you go. No more problems. Can we do it for everyone? Technically, yes, and it wouldn't take 11 or 12 days or however long they're saying it takes them to count it now. Oh, because we got to wait for the mail to come in. That is so dumb. Why? Why? If you can go to the mailbox, you can go to the voter drop box, right? Which you guys placed all over the state, right? You guys, like on 1,000, when you guys had all the mules come in and pouring hundreds of ballots into the boxes, yeah, just one ballot though. Instead of 50, you just do one. I know that the other side doesn't like that, because I saw the real numbers for the 2022 primary you guys stole from me. I know that you guys don't like to talk about it, but the standard deviations made it not possible, go figure, for those numbers to occur. Oops. They don't know. They don't know. They're faking it till they make it. Oh, so many goodbyes. Goodbye, guys. Now it's a 1-hour video. So don't forget to vote Tuesday. I'll try to get another on the issues out tomorrow, which will be Sunday. And you guys have a good weekend. And if you guys have anything with merit you want to talk to me about, hit me up. Thank you for watching the videos today. Please like and subscribe if you'd like more content.
I'll let you try my